crap. Holy. This is... I don't even know what take we're on. Is this like the 15th time now I've tried to do something? I legitimately have lost count. I don't even know anymore. Um, Today has been testing me. That is a fact. And that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. We are back again. I hope live this time. Maybe. I'm trying to double check my settings. It looks like... Do we have audio too? Yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Can you repeat the question? Okay. Holy fart. Benugans. I don't even know, man. Okay. We are here. There are all these struggles. Okay. I don't know what's been going on. OBS died multiple times. I don't know what's going on. I had set up the multi-streaming. I had done the singular streaming, and it was fine, right? I actually streamed just to YouTube then, and watched that progress, and it was perfectly fine. No issues at all once I got it running. Issues setting it up, but once it was set up, no problems really. But now, once I'm actually multi-streaming it, it is just dying. So now we are an hour in, right? It's 11:30. It's supposed to start at 12:30, right? We know the drill. 12:30, and now we are finally doing this. I don't know if it's going to stay. So this is my problem now. Is it going to keep up working? Okay. We'll see. If it doesn't, I may just need to nix this and say we're going to just stick with Twitch streaming for now. And I'm assuming it's the multi-stream that's messing it up. But anyway, so I'm going to delete all the other VODs and all the other things. It's fine. Everything's gone. Dead. Kaput. Vamoose. So yeah, so that sucked. I apologize for everybody who was chilling. And now, hopefully, if somebody hopped in, now they're not too thrown off that I canceled and started and canceled and started and canceled and started. Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. Do you know the toll 3 vasectomies take on a man? That's the energy I feel right now. The Michael Scott energy. So I'm going... So I lost because I had to reboot the computer even. So I had all my tabs open of some gorgeous art. And now they're gone. Gone. And one was a genuinely amazing reaction I had because it was... Okay, so I found his still. So I'm not going to find all of them. I'm just going to go through like a couple. So just so we've got something to look at. Done. 4 pieces. I don't care. One is the most important that I wanted to look at anyway. So now we are cooking back in our mess of a stream. Again, thousand apologies, my friends. However, I'm fingers crossed that this is working now. I don't want to jinx it. Again, this was quite the mug to grab for today because this is very accurate. I'm trying my best, and I'm very glad. So my camera is actually inverted horizontally or flipped because normally it wouldn't look, it would be backwards, but everything I do is backwards. So it throws me off because like pointing this way is actually this way and directions, right? And like when I do this with my hair, my stupid lizard brain goes, oh, it needs to go this way. Nope, that just makes it look like a mess. Because actually, I know my hair goes this way, but the camera is making me think it goes this way. But anyway, I do it for everyone so you can read things like, look, MTV, it looks like MTV. Trying my best, it looks like trying Marvel versus Capcom. Clash of superheroes. That's, legible. Everything's legible. I hate when people have stuff flipped or not flipped and you don't, it just looks dumb. Anyway, beyond looking dumb and me looking dumb for my 9th iteration of this stream, let's look at some cool things, okay? Are we cool with that? Are we good? OBS, are you good? Are you gonna be good, OBS? I'm looking at you. I'm not even looking at the camera anymore. I'm looking at you. Oh, goodness. Anyway, so I was absolutely shocked by this piece. This is Julian Visseau, okay? 10 out of 10, 1,000 out of 10, a million out of 10 for you. He's a student, and this is phenomenal work. I know this illustration. I don't know this illustrator personally. I know this illustrator's work. I have a book of theirs beside me. I love their stuff. It's Nicolas Saviori, right? Amazing. If you don't know, they've worked on a lot of like the Spyro and Crash Bandicoot and stuff like that. They do Marble Snap. They've done Hearthstone. Their illustration work is some of my favorite. Like if there's a style I aspire to achieve, not like their specific style, but like that energy is what I want. And so if anything, realistically, maybe maybe we do some style studies at one point. Like maybe we break down some of Nicola's style because I want to learn how their shapes that they do are phenomenal. But anyway, so it looks phenomenal, right? You look at this, you think, wow, that's I've seen this illustration before. I love it. However, I continued scrolling and I basically pooped my pants because it's not an illustration. This is a student and his work genuinely looks. I thought it was the original illustration. I didn't even I didn't think twice. I just was like, oh, did this kid just do a like unbelievably clean 2D style study of his? No, he did an even more amazing thing by making it in 3D. I am absolutely astounded by this kid's work. I'd be curious to see how it looks because he's got like some line work stuff painted on. And we're only seeing a slight rotation, so I'm guessing like full 3D it might not look. Like looking at the butt side might be a little off because the smoke and stuff like that. But I don't care. I don't friggin' care. You did amazing. And for those that don't know, let's go to Nicola's work. Let's see if Julian has any other stuff. Okay, so they definitely have other stuff. And it's solid work as well. Definitely they are getting just better and better and better though. I'm all for this kid's stuff. You're going places, son. I will give you a follow. And again, usually somewhere in Europe. 9 times out of 10, if I'm liking the art, they're not from America. We don't foster creativity enough here. I mean, I wouldn't even mind moving out to Europe, so I'm surrounded by more creative individuals. Also because, for those that are here in America, some stuff's happening today that I'm not a fan of. Not a fan. I don't really feel like being a part of it. But we're here, and this is the life we live. So, instead of fleeing away, let's just deal with the cool stuff we got here and look at the original piece, Nicolas Saviori's. Absolutely stunning stuff. So again, if you don't follow this person, you need to. You need to know everything that they do and learn from everything they do. Again, Italy, surprise, right? If you couldn't guess by the name. But like, seriously, they're marbles. Like, look at this marble snap. Gorgeous. Super clean. Love it. Anything they do turns to gold in my mind. Like, all of these things. Melania, you got the Elden Ring stuff. You got my Ninja Turtles. You've got, again, their Crash work. Dingo Dial here. I love that render of him. Their style is so clean. It looks so smooth and well rendered, and it has like almost like a Blizzard style, but better. Like, obviously their Blizzard stuff looks very Blizzard-y. And like, if we start scrolling, it makes me feel better because like, I don't like some of this earlier stuff now. I'm not a fan of this. But you know what I am a fan of? Growth. And this person has grown exponentially. Like, how old is this? This is 10 years ago. So clearly they started with World of Warcraft styling, and they just slowly bled into like the most amazing style of their own. Because if you look, they've got, this is what I was talking about, where I would love to do some style studies of this stuff, because we've got these soft edges everywhere. But still line work in there that looks just clean. I don't know how to describe it. So I think it's something I definitely need to sit and study myself for quite a while. Because as we've seen me painting lately, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a goober. I know how to sketch stuff. I know anatomy and I know the body and I know cool stuff, but painting is a whole other beast that I just would love to get better at. And studying a master of it like this, I feel like would go a long way. So I definitely need to remember to just do some style studies. Maybe not this week, but definitely within the near future, I want to break down kind of how he does stuff, because I absolutely love it. But anyway, enough gushing, seeing as we're already like a billion hours past our normal time. I just thought this was good because it's hands, and I went on my rant on hands the other day, and I couldn't tell at first then if this was 2D or 3D, because I was thrown off with the 3D stuff just last time. But these are clean. They almost look like Byrne Hogarth-esque painting style. If you know Byrne's anatomy books from a billion years ago. These are clean hand studies. Oh, that's why it popped up on my feed. Because I did this bonkers Loki thing. Loki piece the other couple weeks ago, I remember. We may have even looked at that on stream. Cool stuff, cool stuff. I didn't know I had a 3D piece already in my list, but I wanted to look at another one. I did not know the thing we looked at earlier was a 3D piece. So here's one I knew was 3D. Nice, clean. I'm going quick because it's late. What do we got? Magic the Gathering, Runeterra. Okay. This is a fun illustration style too. Some Smite illustrations. I like their stuff. Ooh, that's super cute and sad looking at the same time. Mr. Root. Give me a regal owl. Oh, and it's massive. Or maybe they're little itty bitty like fairies, actually. I don't know. All I know is big owls. They get me, right? A large owl that's like that heavy fantasy, obviously, but like very regal. The owl has this imagery of just being so stoic, right? And wise. And I just, funny story. We were in Disney, so I go to Disney every year, basically. My sister works there at this point. Some of my best friends live down there. One of my other best friends is going to move shortly down there. He's getting married. Got a wedding there this year, and to go to. And we're down there, and my buddy knows Disney, right? He knows Disney really well. And we went in somewhere in Epcot. I don't remember where exactly. I think it was like Denmark, and they had a lot of the Winnie the Pooh stuff. And my buddy looked at the stuff and was like, "Oh my God, I love this!" Like we were looking at I think it was like a bag or something like that, and the style of the 100 Acre Woods characters was just so beautifully rendered in such like a cute, like an old stiff bear kind of energy, which was really cute. And my buddy went, "Oh crap, I'm blanking on what's the owl's name." And he pointed to what he said is the owl's name, right? Do anybody who knows Winnie the Pooh then knows Owl's name is Owl. Like, it's a kid's book. It's a kid's story. He's Owl. Pooh Bear. Piglet is a piglet. You know, kangaroo is a kangaroo. Rabbit. Tigger is, I mean, Tigger's his only thing, but the wonderful thing about Tigers are wonderful things. But like he's a tiger. Um, so I laughed my butt off. I gave him crap for like 2 or 3 minutes, just being like, "You got this, man. You got this. What is Owl's name?" Eh, I was like, "Dude, it's Owl." After like 5 minutes, and the amount of defeat on his face, fantastic, hilarious, worth it in every way. But okay, so we are cruising by. So now we are 11:40. Just, like a small loan of $1 million late. I am well done with my coffee, so I'm gonna grab my water that's next to me. So for those of you on YouTube, you can't hear music. I'm sorry. I'll maybe reassess in the future and figure out some royalty-free stuff. I know I found on Reddit, I came across some lo-fi beats from somebody who absolutely killed it. Which, you know what? Do I have their stuff up right now? Because I'm just gonna play it right now. Do we have recent? Let me see. Hold on. Let me go look for their stuff again. Okay, so I'm gonna pull the Spotify up on here. So they said I could stream it, do whatever, because they're dope and they've made some clean stuff. But anyway, they do video game lo-fi, right? Clean as heck, background, just kind of clean stuff to hear. So this is their work. I guess technically I could probably put it on YouTube then, but I'm still not. This is my early streams with YouTube. So I'm trying to figure out how the heck all the audio works. Right now I have the VOD audio going from Twitch. The VOD audio without the music is going to YouTube. So for now, this means nothing. But if you guys are watching this at any point and want to go vibe with some cool stuff, check out Sock Ramen stuff. All right. Clean. I know there's a billion lo-fi stuff on the internet. I get that. I'm not like, I know there is. But it looks like they don't have all of their stuff. Oh. They don't have all of their stuff here on Spotify, because I know on YouTube they actually had like the full, like way more beats. Right, it looks like they just have the single album that they released here with 10 tracks. But if we pull up real quick, whoops. Sock Ramen. Googling. So they go by Retro Gamer Lo-Fi though on YouTube. So I'm never a fan of changing names. I don't know why on Spotify he's got a different name, or they've got a different name. But on YouTube, you've got way more stuff here. And they're long, because these are the YouTube ones that we throw up, right? Full mixes of stuff. So maybe I don't have the music set up very well though, because I think YouTube goes to something different. Whatever. We jam to this for now, and that's fine. We don't, it's late. I want to get moving and actually do stuff, seeing as I already want to get off now in like not even an hour, because I got other crap I need to get done today. So, you know what? This chill stuff is what we get. And if you don't want it, too bad. And anyway, the VODs, you're not going to hear it. So, oh well. Chill. Now, it's been 84 years, right? So now is OBS gonna die if I open up Rivals too? I think it might. I just think it might. Well, I'm gonna go to iPad drawing, right? Where we've got browser audio. I think no game audio, period, right? Game audio is not on here. So we shouldn't have any game audio for you guys. But again, as usual, I have game audio. So click, goodbye. No game audio for me. So I'll pop in the iPad. I wanted to sketch out some Magneto today. I think the timeline's going to be borked. I wanted, like I said, to kind of quickly get more stuff done. And I feel like the time in which I stream is it's hard to sketch. So anybody who does art knows sketching is sometimes the hardest part because your brain's almost working triple time because you're breaking down way too many ideas all at once. But I want to. I want to sketch more and I want to get this vibe quicker, get some like clean things pumped out rather than taking forever for finished pieces. That said, I have almost finished my Susie Storm. She's almost done. However, I don't feel like finishing her on stream, right? So I'll give you guys a peek and then we'll do some quick sketches of some Magneto. Oh, wow. I got all my random stuff here from the Twitch stuff. So delete all the red. Cool. I got my Hella. Spoiler, I'm never going to use that Hella. I got the cooler Hella. If we're, like last season's Hella, absolutely dope. Why do I want a Twitch stream colored one? Obviously, it's Galacta. I get it. It's purple, but it's also a Twitch color one. Come on. Who are we kidding? That said, I do like the dragon thing. I don't know who this person is, but they sent me a friend request. Anyway, I want to break and do some Magneto sketches because while I am doing Sue Storm and I'm queuing up a video for her, I love the X-Men. If you know anything about me, right behind, oh, again, talk about flipped cameras right here, right? Look at that. Hard to see, but we've got one of my many, many X-Men displays. I love X-Men. And that is the HasLab Sentinel. The Sentinel is huge. He takes up half of the detolf, so I actually removed one of the lower shelf, reset up the lighting so it kind of frames him better. Hard to see on camera, not gonna lie, but it, trust me, is dope. Okay, maybe I'll take so Blue Sky. Maybe since I've been using more Blue Sky, maybe I'll pop up some toy pictures on there to get a better vibe of like what I do, So, but anyway, I love X-Men. And so doing Fantastic Four research was cool. But doing Magneto research, especially House of M, seeing as I've got those comics, boop, also right behind me, is a little better. I like that more. So I'm going to play with some of our good old Magnus over here and really play with this. And I want to see this new costume, right? So it's weird, this piece, though. This piece is like a dope Marvel Rivals add-on. God, Magneto, so cool. This weird halo of metal that frames him so well. So Magneto, as you can see by his shape language in general, he's a square, right? We talk about shapes, we talk about all that kind of stuff a lot. And stability is found in squares, right? He is strong, very strong, right? He's an Omega level mutant. He is very strong. And with his strength, though, you don't want just a pure big old square. And so he is very blocky. He is the master of magnetism, right? However, Rivals, with Nettie's amazing ability to design, decided how do we balance this very square shape and make it readable in a game like this, right? And what they decided is this amazingly cool little ring behind him. And that ring behind him just balances out the squareness, right? So he's a square, but then all of a sudden, boom, softens the shape, becomes way more intriguing to look at too, because he's got more going on, right? He's not just a big old square. And then from a game design perspective, when we do 3D models, and especially in a hero shooter, you need to make it readable at a moment's notice. And a giant, beefy man with a huge ring behind him, I think it's pretty clear what we're looking at. Pretty clear. So hopefully OBS doesn't die with looking at an iPad too. Hopefully. But you know, with this new streaming stuff that I've got, no guarantees. No guarantees. So what I do, okay, look behind the curtain. Masters of Anatomy, okay? If you don't have their books from their Kickstarters or anything, get them. Absolutely get them. Cannot. I will shill this till the day I'm dead, and I don't care. You never need to sponsor me. Okay, well, that'd be dope if I actually got sponsored at some point. But like, you don't need to right now because I love them. So Masters of Anatomy, I've been getting since I started my master's program, ironically enough, many years ago. And they just are great. It's simple breakdowns, but it's not even just the fact that it's breakdowns. We have here with this piece, with these books, they are the anatomy in action. Okay. So I've got the female one here. I've got the full one in the other room. I've got, these books are everywhere. Like literally everywhere I make art, you've got them. And I don't care. They are my favorite books ever. And so what they are just a ton of, some are really loose, some are a little more cleaned up with line work. It's definitely not exactly my style of drawing, and that's okay. It's almost better because it's not like I'm trying to replicate what I see drawn here. So Sue actually, so we've got something to look at. So I'm almost done with Sue, I said, right? She's getting there. I need to figure out what I want to do with the background and stuff like that. I hate doing finished pieces because they're harder to finalize. But she started in all of her goodness as an original sketch based off of something from one of these books. I just quickly peeked through, looked for like seductive poses, and went from there. Did I keep it exactly the same? Absolutely not. Did I tweak it? Quite a bit. Was that what I got the party started with though? Yeah. And that's okay. Sometimes it's just good to get the party started. I don't need all the ideas, but I just want, sometimes, especially when you're just trying to pump stuff out, you kind of want to just have an idea. And that idea can be in the form of a quick little sketch that somebody already else did, but then you just run with it. So that said, I love these books. And so if I'm going to be pumping out a couple like Eric or Magnus or Magneto or whoever sketches, I kind of like the idea of pulling up some of these books, slap at a base, and go from there. So like, I'm going to reposition this so I can actually see it a little bit in front of me. Oh, golly gee, mister. Boom, done. I got a book in front of me. I see a couple rough ideas that I kind of think I can run with. Just to start, again, I have not drawn at all today, so I'm going to be kind of weirdly rusty. And I didn't really draw this weekend because, if anything, I was trying to finish up Sue. And while this is drawing, it's not drawing, right? Painting, coloring stuff isn't quite the same as just legit sketching stuff out. So I start with my 8.5 by 11, and we'll just sketch some stuff out, okay? So go to my go-to brushes, go to my basics, go to just sketching, right? Sketch in black. That's how we do it. Sketch, black, done. Looks good. Maybe bump up the size a little bit on this one. Also, I've been using my pencil naked, right? Ooh, scandalous. My scandalous naked pencil. So I've got upper UPPR. It's like a grip that I got a long time ago. But I usually don't use it because it blocks your magnetic charging. And normally when I'm chilling downstairs on the recliner doing whatever, I bounce back and forth between using the iPad and not, like, all the time. Whereas up here, it's very structured. I'm going to be drawing, right? It would be drawing for 2 hours if, OBS didn't die 12 times over. But, now we're going to draw for like a half hour. But that half hour means I know I'm committed. So I can put on a grip like this so I don't, like, tighten up. The Apple Pencil's really little. And it gets gross when you tighten stuff up. So I've got the little thing like that and then a little stand to just drop the pencil in. So I feel like that'll be what I'll be using when I stream now. Just easier, right? Cleaner, easier, keep stuff more organized. And I don't know why I put my hood up. I'm hot. I don't need that up. Okay, so let's look at Magneto's design real quick. We established this outfit from House of M that they've got is a square, right? He's thick, he's square. His gauntlets are chunky. He's basically got the Infinity Gauntlet on in terms of scale, I feel like. So he's very square. His face is also very square. He doesn't have a full beard. He's just got the little chin T up in there. Very long hair. Very square. Cape is also pretty... So it bows out a little bit. So it gets a little bit of mass at the base. It curves out. But it looks like it's just a rectangle. It's not just not like a unique shaped cape. But I do like that piece. So I wonder if we do something more from in front at first. Let's do like a big jumpy. And then we'll do like a behind. So Magneto's always flying, right? Like he's not, his feet don't touch the ground. So what if I like to start with a line of action when I'm sketching. Just a quick line of action. Whoop. He's flowing, right? He's gonna be flowing. And I usually draw the torso with the ribs. So his ribs are gonna be angled up a little bit. Okay, let's have him. He's way thicker, but again, this is just to get the movement of the body first, and then we'll adjust for the actual Magneto. So he'll have, if you're flying, you usually got one leg up. Ooh, I'm used to drawing the girls already now. Look at that hip I gave him, that big old butt. I mean, Netties knows what they're doing. They're giving everybody butts, so maybe we got a Magneto magnet cheeks too. So bend the knee. So when you bend legs, super easy way of simplifying. Like obviously, if you're working with the general anatomy of the leg, sure, whatever. Curve it out. So, ooh, big eraser. Curve out the outer part. Usually, I like to do if it's a bend like this, give some detail inside for like the adductor here, and then a little bit of the quad from the fold. But then like foreshortening, don't overthink it, right? Just that's the calf. Sure, that's your shin and your calf, cool. And then you draw the foot. Don't people overthink. I feel like foreshortening, it's really, yes, it's a skill to learn, but once you learn it, don't overthink it, man. It's just usually simpler the better when you're foreshortening something. Obviously, even in here, this looks way too big, and that's fine. We'll adjust. But like, don't overthink the angles that you're coming in at. So if he's flying in, right, he's coming up. He got a thick leg here, but that's okay. I want him to be sprawled. So he is going, as usual, Magneto looks down on everyone, right? Look at this. He doesn't look towards you. He doesn't make direct eye contact. That's why he always floats even an inch off the ground, so he can look down on you, right? Like that's completely his character. So let's have him flying up, but then being like, you peasants, and not even caring. So that head's actually a little... Oh my gosh, what selection? I do not have the freehand selection tool on. This is like a jump scare. What is happening? Holy crap. I don't know why that startled me so much. But anyway, so big and square. So I feel like he's not square enough. But this side's going to be receding in space. So like when I say receding, remember we talk about if it's like a tube, the tube would be like this. So it's going back in space. So we see more and then less, and it's curving that way. Basically what we're going to do with this arm. So we fly this arm back and he's just kind of, I don't know what his hand will be doing. That's fine. He'll do something cool with his hand. So the other leg will be out, right? Kick it out. Foot still down here. So if his knee's here, this knee would be down a little bit further, right? Calf, kinda stick out. Done. Quad cut in, calf there still. Allude at least to the muscle here, just so, I don't, obviously it doesn't matter because he's gonna have an outfit on. So thick old Magneto, and his arms are just kind of. I wonder if this arm actually. He always has like one arm up. So what if? Let's reassess. What do we want? So if he's kind of turning, so his his body's kind of twisting like this. I feel like his one arm would be down. And almost like he clenches, right? He's one of these guys with his hand in. Also, so this is getting really tight here. Easy with digital, as we know. Lazy, whatever. I get it. Just cut it out and move it. His torso was getting way too stubby. Which is a crutch. I was talking to one of my buddies the other day, and he's like, I'd love to watch you do traditional. I said, I'd love to hear you shut up. And then I went back to digital. Traditional throws me off now. And also for these lovely streams, I don't have a means really at the moment with a camera for like top down, right? And that's okay. One day, maybe. But so what do we want? I kind of just want him doing his like thing. Magneto's a douche, right? He's kind of a pompous bee. So he's just got his like hand up and then like the other one's curling down. We won't even see those actually because it's pretty close to us, let's say. But really, you've just got some basic, but you want to kind of, so this shoulder's going like this and these hips are going like that. That is a classic drawing piece referred to as contrapposto, where you have kind of a push and pull. So your hips usually in a balanced pose are opposite of your shoulders, right? So if you've got somebody standing and their shoulders are kind of slouched like this, right? Let's say this is beyond rudimentary. That means usually their balance, their hips are going to be doing this slightly. That's just how your body works. Do it yourself, like stand, and you'll see that like usually if one goes one way, the other goes the opposite way, because that's just the nature of our bodies. And then visually it looks nice. And so contrapposto, something, if you've learned anatomy or anything like that, you are well aware, but that is definitely a thing that you need to keep in mind when structuring the body. So this is unbelievably loose, but it's one of these things where like when I do these loose pieces real quick, you already get the energy, right? You know what he's doing. He's jumping up. That's all we need. His cape then is probably, I don't want him to feel like Superman, right? Because Superman gets a big cape. His is flowy. Magneto is not Superman, and I don't want him to feel like Superman. So I want him to feel like a douche. Right? Superman wants to help you. Magneto wants you to know he's better than you. I know that's not always the case, but that's my inner lore of the character. That is Magneto to me. So he's got a pretty cape, man. So let's just give at least like the bottom trim, just so we kind of feel like there's an idea of some shape. I feel like that helps. I don't want to give any details to it. Is there? No, there's no filigree on the inside. It's all on the back. So you, the viewer, don't get to see it in this. I actually don't like that cape, and that's fine. Okay, so what is his design? We've got big old shoulders, right? I don't know what those are called, with like the little doodads on them, but they're cool. So he's got like a necklace. So let's chunk up this brush real quick, just to pop in some shapes. So he's got a collar that goes up, and if anything, since he's looking down, it'll kind of cover his face, right? Cover his face. He's got like a necklace. He's got beyond the necklace, it keeps going. So if his chest is facing this way, so the center, the apex of it would come down like this. And he's got a cool like gem with the, ooh, that's cool. It's like the Magneto little helmet is in the logo. He's got a suit and the belt. So the belt would be facing this direction, right? With a big old X. belt. He's got the little, I don't know what you call that, like the tails from his top sticking down. He's looking pretty thin, wasted at the moment. He's a thick guy, so we'll probably liquefy again, get the shapes in, and then you just liquefy the heck out of it. Find what works, see what doesn't. Right now, I just kind of, again, this is a look behind the curtain. Like, this is completely sketch. You know, there's not, like, I am very not doing crap with detail here. And this is usually I don't let people watch this stage, because usually this is where you screw up and you learn what you're doing a few times, and like you screw up and then you post to social media what you did well, not the screw ups that you did beforehand to get there. So this is definitely hard for me, because it's like I'm still trying to get better as an artist, as you know, most artists always are. But then I'm also showing you the bad part, which sounds silly, but it's hard. It's a weird thing. So that's why I wanted to work on more of these quick sketches and get ideas laid out differently now, to get better at this, and to not only get better at it, but get more confident in it, and not have like the stigma of being nervous of people seeing your flaws. Because you know what? We all got a ton of flaws. And I don't know why we need to act like we don't. I know professionally with art, you're like, no, look, I'm great. But also, you're not, man. Everybody doesn't make beautiful things all the time. You got to go through like 15 ugly things to even get an okay thing, and then another 100 to get a great thing. And I think that's something people always forget. Man, this is looking dumb. Like, because again, these proportions are not vibing. Again, this kind of sucks that I didn't get to do any warm-up sketches today. I didn't do anything. I just am here. What did we have? Oh, we had his fist coming out. I can't even see what the messiness is here. This big old gauntlet kind of thing. Cool. And then he's got boots on. Just like dress pants and boots. Yeah, real simple kind of shape here. So we can kind of chunk this out into a... some loafers. Okay. Boom. It looks funny that he's like super angled right now. So let's push and pull this shape real quick. So we've got an idea for a sketch. Now let's liquefy to make it less stupid. So his head looks weird. Make his head a little smaller, right? His head's way too big. That's not even a liquefy thing, actually. Let's just straight up grab it and give the vibe smaller. Okay. That makes his head look bigger, or his body look bigger, right? We talk about that. If his head is smaller, that makes his body bigger. We don't have to do anything beyond that. If one is bigger, innately the other is smaller. Let's give a stronger force perspective on that. So his face actually will be down like that. Push his chest so he's more upright, like a very barrel chested, and he's like looking up. Like his chest is facing upwards. His legs look funny to me. I don't know. I think they're just too short. Cool. That looks dumb still. But what you do then is you say, cool beans, cool beans, cool beans. Let's crank that real low. And now we just use that as a little bit of an idea. So again, we're looking at my process that usually is not the greatest. So bear with me here. We're just trying to play with some stuff. It's not guaranteed to look good. It never is. But I feel like now more than ever, it's definitely not guaranteed to look good. So if we crank this out, let's get an idea. So again, I want to give detail because I love Magneto's face, but let's just say he's looking down right now. And then the collar. Just to kind of get a better connection point real quick. So the collar is actually, his chest is facing this way, we said, right? So if this is the center line, the collar piece would go here, and he's kind of looking beyond the collar down at us. So not only is he looking down, he's looking sideways. You Homo sapiens. Because Homo superior is the mutant, if you guys were unaware. Looks weird. But anyway, so and his hair can be flowing because he's got sexy old man gray hair. That's Magneto for you. And so, like I said, with the contrapposto, do like a heavy cut, right? I want this shoulder to be really up. So we've got it beefing up here. I'll do some underlying anatomy again, just because I feel like we're redoing the body. But his arms are huge. Rivals gives like massive arms, right? Or at least on this specific character, he's got massive arm. So let's just beef that bad boy up. So I guess I lied. I'm actually going to draw the anatomy first, now that we've adjusted. Anatomy plus a collar, because that's, he's into some weird stuff, all right? For me, it helps to draw I know anatomy better than I know clothes. So if I draw the anatomy, I feel like it helps sell it for me better. So we want him still to be floating above us a little bit. So that curve would be like that. But then his groin is kind of twisting. He'll have more of a stockier build, right? And that's okay. Shoulder just gets, bicep and shoulder gets lost, and that's fine. We can just have him fist sticking out just a little bit. Fist out, and then good twist to his body. And like I said, let's simplify the leg a little bit. We're just chunking it. Okay, so here's a chunk. And then a chunk. It's thick though, right? He's beefy. I want him to have slender legs, but beefy legs. And especially from this perspective. But also, that looks way too beefy. Okay. Because you still want him. So with Magneto, what's cool is Magneto's a villain though too, right? So shape language wise, we look at triangles a lot. So he's very strong and square, but also he's a villain a lot of the time. And so he does have more sharp aspects in that he feels like a triangle. And his overall body is usually a triangle still, because his feet give that image of always together, right? Because again, we talked about he's always floating above us and like looking down on you. And so that would be reflected in him looking more triangular. And that's kind of what you always want to, not always want to do, but like keep in mind, we've talked about before, keep in mind the shape language of the character you're wanting to convey because you don't want to betray the energy that they give off, right? Because you're not going to sell the character if you're not selling their energy. And so if his energy is that of kind of floating above you, looking pompous, looking powerful, well, then you've got to convey that. Otherwise, what are you doing? You're not making Magneto, then you're just making some dude. But I kind of want this leg bending back a little bit. I had it more straight in the original, but I kind of like the idea of him still just floating. Give a liquefy because I don't feel like doing more than that. His knee I want a little higher to give a little more variation. So right now, his knee lined up with his other knee, and I didn't like that. In the Reed Richards piece we did, we balanced a lot of like where things intersect so that they feel more special and different in space. And that's kind of what I want to do here is make his one leg look like noticeably higher than the other. And then the problem I was doing was I kind of want his feet going the other way. So we see more flat. If you noticed before, I had the feet kind of going like that. So what I want to do is imagine this foot in space is coming down a little bit more straight. Yeah, that's like a giant duck foot. So let's shrink it. Oop, oop. On distort. Uniform. Clean up. I said uniform. This old iPad will be the death of me. Boom. Okay, so now we're looking, and this looks more like a thing once I do my anatomy, right? I need this. I need this anatomy to sell myself what I'm actually doing. I'm a simple man who studied biology and to go into medicine. Simple man who loves the anatomy. So this is where I connect. This is where my brain tells me what the right thing is. So if we're looking at this, the hips do look kind of weird. I'm not 100% sold. So let's just grab, again, I'm trying to be quicker with stuff. Let's just grab these hips and see if we can just, do we twist them? Is that going to help? We've talked about before, go big, right? Just do some big changes and see if they look good. And I think this does, right? Because then we keep this curve, this big old curve this way. And then there's a crunch, right? So there is a contrast of this bend to this curve. So I think that helps. And then it makes this space read a little better, I think, too. Cool. Digitally warping stuff, as we've said, can help. So this is a weird groin spot. I don't know how you do this fold because this leg's technically in front. So it'll be something like that. We'll do a stronger hip cut there. Then maybe we'll pull this to make it more flowy as one big curve. I like that more. A big curve. All right, Magnus. So he's very barrel chested here, and that's cool. That's kind of the vibe that Rivals gives us anyway, right? He looks like that. I don't want to make his arms even bigger though. Right? Just even thicker of a shoulder. He's huge. Yeah. My brain like farts every once in a while with hands, like the orientation. I'm like, yeah, his thumb's outside. Like a gauntlet piece, right? So his gauntlet actually is like a big square. Again, we'll change it later. I'm just trying to get an idea. Whoop, whoop. Again, we have the tools to distort stuff, so just use them, man. Right? I threw those lines down. Good enough. Now we've got an idea of the hands. I altered them a little bit just so we can kind of see how that'll move. Done. And by done, I mean it looks like really dumb, but done enough kind of thing, you know, for establishing an idea. Like the energy of that hand. Okay, so I mean, that looks like a beefy Magneto that we would be using, right? And so for perspective, so I've been talking about how I use this book, right? So I used this book. I'm going to pull up. I'm going to show you the image that I actually looked at. Let's see if I can get it on frame. So I looked at this. Looked at this guy. That's what I looked at. Okay. And then I made what I made. So the very different energy between the two. But it got my ideas flowing of the general idea that I was going for. I want him flying up in the air, maybe a leg up, and then I'll play with that. And that's all I wanted. And that's all I used. But then as I make the character my own, I'm quickly changing the shapes, quickly changing the pose, making it look more like what I wanted it to, and more what's in my head rather than what's on that paper. So again, an amazing tool because you can use them for just the vibes and a starting point. Because sometimes it's so hard when you sit here like, what the heck do I draw? How do I draw this shape? What do I do? You know, but it's like, oh, if you break it down and do the vibes, you're good, right? You got the vibes already. You can just go from there. Technically, I mean, the thing is like behind him, so it would be like more like this, I think, right? Because it's like directly behind him. It's pretty low. But this angle would be something like that. I don't really, that visual doesn't sell it for me. I like, just because it's the way it is doesn't mean you can't break it. So it's got like these, it looks wiggly just because I'm an idiot and it just needs to be like a vibe of a square pieces kind of. So I kind of like breaking. So yes, physically it would be the other spot where I drew like right here, right? This would make more sense. Visually it doesn't though, right? It's not as pretty. So it's okay to break that. Don't feel confined as always to just the realism of it. Break it down into what looks cool. What looks cool is what sells. Doesn't have to. We're drawing a giant beefy man who controls magnets. All right, metal. So this was the original, right? Original vibes. Look dumb. And then when you clean it up, now we've got the energy we're going for, right? Much better. So we can delete that first ugly one. crank down the opacity just to leave this as a pose that we want to work with. We can actually just scale this up to look more full once we do this then. And now we can throw some stuff in, right? So the building blocks are there. Now we just kind of put clothes on him. Like he's just naked right now. And so now we just need to kind of break down how we think to look. So I'm going to rough in a little bit of expression just so we can have something to go from. He's got very strong jaw that cuts down and then comes. So we're making him, like I said, we're playing with some perspective here. And his ears would be up here. Does he's got like, does something go in front of his ears? No, but he's got like this kind of stuff coming down, right? Yeah. And his hair all kind of goes back. So it comes to a point in the middle of the forehead, recedes back. His nose is pretty big. I just threw that there at first. But he does have a pretty big nose, to be fair. The eyebrows are pretty intense too, so we'll definitely play with the eyebrows when we do a little more, but he's got the strong shapes. Do we see a little bit of this ear? Let's say no. I don't want to. That's okay. He just looks pissed. Magneto just looks pissed most of the time. So let's just make him look pissed. He'll be underlit probably. I like the idea. Since he's villainy. Can't really get the goatee in because the collar is going to be covering it. But let's kind of allude to the collar now. So the collar is going to come. Let's give a little bit more breathing room so his face can shine a little bit at least. So I have this grip on, so I can't double tap the Apple Pencil like I usually do to switch to eraser. It's throwing me off. Everything's throwing me off today. The nature of the beast, apparently. So we wouldn't really see much of an angle because we're looking at him from below. But we can still give him a hint of the facial hair. Got like super, I mean, he's an older guy, so he's got the bags under his eyes. And a goatee. We won't see his ear, but since he's floating, let's give him, like, clearly he's got like the little bit coming out from around, from behind the ear kind of thing, right? So do we play with that falling down on this one? Maybe. Okay. So I mean, there's the energy at least of his head. So now we've got an expression, kind of annoyed. His hair is kind of flowing all around back there a little. It would be more like that, right? The overall language probably would be flowing like a little bit peeping. And the rest would be... Yeah. This curve looks kind of weird, but that's cool. Okay, overthinking it. Magneto's face is kind of there. Does it look exactly like Magneto? Nope. Doesn't matter. Got wrinkly brow though, right? So let's give him one of these. Boom, more Magneto. He looks too clean. Like he's definitely more wrinkled. No offense. No offense, Magneto. It's the truth. You getting up in there in age. And he's got this big necklace we'll draw later, but it'll be kind of like folding in, right? We wouldn't see where it is here because this shoulder is going to be taking precedence. And so he's got these like a ribbon of sorts, like some sort of metal, which is the brooch almost that's holding the cape in, I'm guessing is what this is. And then the shoulder is going to be taking priority. So let's kind of like forget all the other pieces and let's just say he's got his shoulder here. Zoom in. So it looks like actually the whatever this part is, like the bib here is what continues into the shoulder, and the shoulder then emits from that part. He's got like a little bit of extra fun stuff sticking out. And then let's rotate it up with us and then still going around. Following the shape, again, we already set up the shape of everything. So we're just, like I said, we're just putting clothes on him. We don't have to like reinvent the wheel, or if you do the legwork with the anatomy, then you've already got like a good gist of what you're looking at. And so and he's got all his tassels, right? So these would be going all over the place this way, and even sticking out from his arm. I guess these technically would be falling some this way too. But his arm's huge. So the way that they'd be falling, let's keep that in mind. Okay, so a couple would be flying that way. But realistically then, if these were falling, they'd be, his arm and his chest is so big that even if this one were to be like this, it would, you need to sell it, right? Sell that there is a massive shape here, forcing them to move the other way. And that massive shape is his beyond huge bicep, okay? So remember the underlying pieces. So that at least sells enough, I think, for now. He looks beefy. Has a big old arm. His arm doesn't have much detail, however, because it's just... Those are getting pretty long, though. But then it's kind of... We cut this shorter then. Let's just cut this a little shorter, and these can go a little longer. Again, we don't want stuff to super conflict, so like those were a little too tight. For what it was. So this is a school. I didn't realize. I thought it was a medallion at first. It's the like cross. So the cross goes like that. But he's beefing now. He's beefing. Let's throw some shapes in here. So there's circle in the middle. Square. Square. And then let's just say that's kind of it, right? Let's simplify that. Don't want it to get too busy. I don't need, again, to do exactly his outfit. We're just... If anybody reads comics and knows how comic books do it, those are not the same drawings over and over again. Like, they are very different. Costumes are simplified. Designs are simplified depending on the movement, depending on a lot of things. And so costumes aren't necessarily unbelievably set in stone. You just need to look at the costume and believe it. And I think as long as we get that we believe that it looks like this Marvel Rivals outfit. That's all. You believe, I believe. So again, since he's angled his chest out, we would see this part of the medallion facing us, but it'll recede back in space, so then the red glowy bit would be what's more visible. Again, we are not going to detail all of these armor accoutrements, but at least put pieces on them so they look like something. Again, now his shoulder, we establish, is coming with this big old thing. It's getting tight in this space now, which isn't bad. But I definitely want to give a little bit more breathing room. So we'll fudge his chest a little bit, just because I want it to look huge. Again, we're not going to overly detail the filigree in here. Just allude to it. And since his chest is receding in space back here, we don't need to see it gets thinner, right? So this will get thinner, and then when there's the heavier bend here, we can kind of just get away with saying it's gone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty thin. It'll have enough to have something, but not so much that it is like super notable. Cool. Looks good. We're not going to do these weird. Well, maybe we'll make them smaller, right? So they're huge. But what if we just say, nah, they're just these small little rectangles there instead? Okay. His shoulder, right? His shoulder has a little bit sticking out more, a little chunk. And then since it's receding in space quite a bit, we can foreshadow it. And like I said before, don't overthink your foreshadowing. It probably looks good enough. Like, foreshadowing's weird, and especially with comic book characters and these crazy outfits, don't overthink it. Because like this, I just drew some shapes. I know that's terrible advice, but like, if you know the overall idea of the shape, just allude to it, because the brain will fill it in. The brain's not paying attention to this part anyway, right? No one cares about this. No one's looking at the details of the back shoulder that's not even in focus. Nobody cares. I don't even care, and I'm drawing it. Like, so get some of those, like, some tassel energy. And again, if you have cool movement, no one's going to notice then if the perspective is a little skewed. Plus his arm is disappearing. His arm's gone. Don't need to see more of his arm. So his outfit has this like centerpiece that cuts in, right? A center trim. So let's just say the trim starts from where we see him here. Need to block in kind of where the belt will be, which I think would fall around here-ish. He is looking pretty stubby since we're doing this. So how about, what if we can still reassess? So what if we take this little bit? Does that look too tall then? I don't think so. So, I mean, since this is here, we can just fill in the space now. It doesn't need to be. Okay, that reads a lot better now. He was looking, I mean, I wanted him to look stocky, but he was looking a little too stocky, I think. All right, all right. Not looking too bad, right? You get the idea so far. Definitely looks like the Magneto to me. So where were we now? So we've got we were doing the chest, right? And then we'll reassess the arms, or assess the arms in a sec. So let's get the movement here. So it follows down to the belt, and we say the belt. Let's make the belt like right here then. So again, to sell this body twisting. So if this is his face is facing this way, his chest is over this way now, right? So we need to remember the curve from the chest in. So we want to sell that it's kind of, his body's contorting a little bit. And so you hit landmarks, right? Belts, pec, like the pec line, all these things. If you sell it with landmarks, you can kind of get the feeling a lot easier then. So if we're selling this landmark right here that, hey, we're establishing, this is where if we're looking at a belt, right? You know that's going to be in the center of the person. So if you establish where the belt center is, you're telling the viewer right away, like, hey, this is the movement. So use simple landmarks to convey the twist, the form, the movement in 3D space on your 2D existence. Okay. His belt's pretty big. So perspective-wise, everything's been receding, but this kind of, let's make this a little flat, the belt overall. So there's like I do want to include, so this filigree stuff here kind of sells the outfit more. So we'll block in like some sort of shape language for the filigree under. But I'm not putting it all in right now. Let's do it this way. Let's show that the belt is kind of where the change occurs. So have like the top kind of straight and the bottom of it curve. That kind of tells us the perspective is shifting. So our eye line is essentially here. So everything above it would be like receding down away from us, whereas everything below would be curving that way towards us, the opposite. So if we throw the belt in, there's nothing really too like detailed about the belt. Just keep it a square or rectangle more or less. So we're going to kind of not even see the rest of that belt. His shirt isn't so tight that it wouldn't have maybe some folds to it. Maybe we've got like just a little fold coming out like this. Oh my gosh, I keep double tapping the rubber piece, which is obvious. I'm just double tapping this. That doesn't do anything. Apple Pencil doesn't know what the heck that is. But okay, so again, now let's talk about selling a movement of shape. So this piece, we want to make sure it follows the movement of his body. So if his chest is puffed out from this perspective and this angle, right? Really sell that it's puffed out and then it comes back in. So give a hard curve like that. We'll zoom out in a sec. See what that looks like. Yeah, that looks good because then what we can do is we continue this shape coming down this way because it's coming through the jacket and it cuts. So let's put the middle line in actually. So the middle line would be underneath the gem coming down twisting because the middle line here is also detailed because it's got these like gold trim bits. What if we make it visible behind. So really, again, like I said, really push stuff. And if you need, it's easier to reel it back than it is to push it further, I feel like. I always like to push it further and then say, that's too much, or maybe it can go more. Give like some folds in there. His chest still is a little bit of the fold here, so he can kind of allude to his massive pec sticking through there. Again, playing with proportions here, though, because he's definitely... I'm making him nice and stump. Like, he is chunky as all heck. And that's cool with me. I like it. I like it beefy. So I don't even know then. Do we play with the idea that, like, maybe we see a little bit of this curve go like this? That his chest is so puffed out, but it's twisting so much that we almost lose the return. I kind of like that. So if anything, we see it here, but not it terminate. Okay, do you know why I stopped? Probably not, because I didn't say anything. This is so the angle I wanted to establish here is not reading as nicely. So it's this here needs to move. His chest isn't, so I want the angle of the chest to really sell like this. That it's down. And we were not doing that in the other way. So like I said, the contrapposto kind of have to really play with the angles to really sell it. So I think something like that will go a long way. And now what we can do is we can pull this back in a smidge, maybe. Because it's still receding in space this way. He looks a little thin now, though. So now let's keep how wide it was. And maybe just make this collar bigger. This way. That's too big. I lied. So right now I'm just kind of reassessing a couple little bits. Now that I twisted his shoulder down, like what else gets adjusted because of that, you know? That's all. I'm just trying to make sure if you change one major thing, you kind of have to just double back and make sure that like the other little things that existed line up still, right? So if I changed how we see the perspective of his shoulder, that probably will change the perspective a little bit of how his ribs curve or something like that, you know? Let's even make his boobie a little bigger. This fold. Cool. Okay, so we've got his jacket kind of done. So this piece is going to be kind of weird because his crotch is like, it is going up here. So it'll go up, and then this guy will go down, and this guy will probably fold along with it this way. Right? That looks a little long, actually, but shape looks fine. So it's like folding, again, think of the shape. So it's going around his leg, so it'll have a curve away from the viewer. Keep these little gold accents. And it looks like it's coming straight out of the gold at an angle, so that kind of sells it okay. Well, it continues. Let's make this like a fold up. So it looks very much like it's breaking the shape. That's a little too big of a fold. Too distracting. So if we shrink it down, that part sticks out a little better. Again, you don't need to make the thing bigger. You need to make the thing around it smaller, usually. Or vice versa. You know, change the scale of the surrounding pieces rather than trying to hammer your head against the wall over the main piece that you're in question. So if the fold looks too big, maybe the other space needs to be bigger, or vice versa. This still does look too big though, that said, so I'm gonna shrink this bad boy. What I like to do is I'll just erase a chunk and then just move it like that. And then line it up close enough for the sketch, right? That looks good. So then this is cutting back out. And now... So again, keep in mind the curve of the leg that's underneath it so that it falls in actual space properly. So again, this kind of goes back. Again, keep in mind, even the accented pieces like this gold trim would follow the overall movement of the piece. So don't forget to fold along with it. How late is it, do I want to know? Ugh, it is already 1 o'clock. This delay really threw me off. Thanks a lot, OBS. Just playing with that shape a little bit more to read. I am Magneto. Trying to think of what his ultimate line is in Rivals. He says something. By the power of Magnet Skull. I don't remember. Okay, so this knee then is coming out to the viewer. We'll do the gauntlets later. It's just like a nice pinstripe knee, right? Her pant. So the leg just has like a boop. So let's sell the knee fold a little bit more towards the viewer than we did originally. His pants are real boring for how detailed and like ornate his whole other kit is. Like his outfit is dripping, and then you've just got like, yeah, you just got pants. Which makes sense. Like draw the attention to the top. We don't need to look at his pants, really. Underpants. Drake and Josh. Old school reference. I think now I'm blanking. My brain said it was Drake and Josh, right? I think so. No, that's Boy Meets World. Oh my god, underpants. That's Corey. But I'm sure, honestly, with Drake and Josh, it was also repeated because that sounds like a Josh thing too. Josh, I guess now looking at it, does have core. It was very had Corey energy, didn't he? Never really looked at it that way, but I'm sure that was quite an inspiration for the character, or at least point of reference. Not completely, obviously, but like I can totally see them. Some of his mannerisms. So his foot's looking a little like the perspective's a little off. So we cheat it, as always. Beautiful. That's all we need to do. His foot was off, now it's good enough. Get this cape energy. Ooh, that was a weird. Inner cape folds are weird. There's really like whatever. Something's looking weird with his leg. I know it's not necessarily like a pinstripe on his pant, but putting in like a little bit of a line at least gives something. I feel like it's like lacking in detail. So I just kind of want to give like a fake something just so it looks like there's some sort of thing going on his leg. His hips are something's looking off. And by something, I mean it's looking fiercely off right now. Crap. So it's this. Hold on. Is it this? Hold on. Boop, boop, boop. Unselect everything. So this fold is kind of weird to me. It's this spot here. That's throwing me off for some reason. It looks unnatural. So can we make his chest? So I'm wondering if maybe the chest comes out even more. And then it connects more cleanly this way. Because I think that it's like too much of a divot. We'll see. Block it in and see how weird that looks. So play with the curve going. Something still looks off, man. I don't know what's going on here. Is it the leg? Something about like his hip area. If you guys can see this. His hip just looks off. I don't know what I did. I like looked away, got distracted doing other bits. And then I'm like, why is his hip look? What did I do? That makes this pose absolutely not work anymore. Something is really not vibing in that region. Goodbye. So if it's not working, it's okay to scrap it. Especially at this point, right? It was still sketchy. It doesn't matter. Just scrap it. Hopefully it looks fine. Oh, I was hoping to get more done today. What's new, right? To my credit, I think I would have gotten a lot done if it wasn't for the morning issues. So let's sell the chest actually. So if the chest is like this, let's sell it by an actual fold. Like a break in silhouette. don't know what I did now. This looks really weird. Does that look better? Folding his leg up higher? Really? If it does, it's like this needs to bend more then too. Okay, so I think that's kind of the vibe. So remember we talked about contrapposto? That is part of, I think, what was killing this. And I will accentuate this more then. Oops, that's a smudge brush. I'll explain in 1 second. Sorry, let me just try and block this in and get a better visual of what I'm thinking might work. Maybe even more. I don't feel like redrawing it. You could just rotate it. So remember when I talked about contrapposto, the idea of give and take, right? The opposite reaction to the movement in your body. So when we're doing Magneto here, we established that his shoulders exist in a plane that are going like this, right? Head, shoulders, big arm up here, shoulder in shadow, essentially. But so what that means is big old barrel-chested Magneto facing this way. That means his hips have to do this. And I think what we were doing was too much of this. It felt really flat and unnatural because then this was jutting out heavily. So by sticking to the contrapposto twist of the hips then and having the leg come up a little more like this, we can sell a lot more, right? Way, way, way more. Give a little bit of crunch. Give a little bit of a twist more. Hope that makes sense. But so it's the balance of the two shapes, of the two angles, and those are pretty major angles of the pose. So what we can do to even sell this further is maybe we play with this curve, and it in itself is coming in this way rather than jutting. Like, so the fold actually looks like this. Yeah, I like that a lot more. Ah! iPad, don't switch from eraser. Still not ideal. Nothing ever is, and that's art. But I wonder if we can pull this leg now a little bit. Let's distort this bad boy. The cape is getting effed, I understand. That's fine. I think that looks better. Chat? Anybody? Bueller? No? Okay. Nobody has an objection. It must be amazing. Ish. So since his leg now, I kind of want his leg. It looks like if this one's up, I almost want this one then to be receding back from our view. So if anything, it can curve the opposite direction we had before, and that might help as well. Boop, away. Yeah, 100%. Oopsies. Why are you not switching to a razor? Cool. His cape is borked. His leg looks borked. There's a lot of... I don't like necessarily these then now. This is getting weirdly... Can we cut this? Let's cut it. Let's cut it. So you have it go real high instead, like that. I don't like that. Do we have it cut the leg though? I think that's the question. Do we have it shorter so it's not constantly... Okay, so the foot breaks. It'll be a little bit below. Yeah, because we'll need to adjust the foot. Let's see if something like that works. Just trying to get like the flow. So when you're dealing with like capes and other like detailed like extra pieces, it's important to make sure that like they are supplementing what the body is doing rather than trying to fight against it. You want it to feel like a natural piece of it. So it's easier said than done, but the idea isn't that you want like, oh, cape is flowing like crazy behind him. Well, yeah, it is flowing behind him, but how can you make that shape frame what you've already done with his body? So yes, it needs to make sense, but it also needs to sell the body more. You're using it as an extra thing. Like imagine like you're a car salesman. Gross. But like, okay, so you're selling a car. What's another tool that you have to sell the car, right? Not only are you being like, oh my gosh, look at the exterior of this car. It's gorgeous. It's got this V6, V8, whatever. I don't know cars. All right. Spoiler, I know nothing about cars. But like you're selling a car and you're selling it and it's like, okay, cool. And instead of being like, throwing in random facts about the car, right? You don't want to try and sell someone on a fact of, hey, it does this and it does this, but you're like, and then also this random fact about it that doesn't even fit. No, you want to sell the pieces together as a whole. And how do you sell it? By making each piece complement each other. Did that analogy make more sense in my head? 1,000%. That didn't flow out of my mouth as well as it was in my head. But I think you get it enough. The idea that like the cape or the accent pieces aren't meant to be a piece, aren't meant to draw you in. They're meant to help sell the thing itself. So you're not selling us with the cape. You're selling us with the thing that then the cape sells us more on. So we're selling the shape of his body first and foremost in this pose, right? And the cape just further sells it. So how do we frame it? Using the cape. How do we give a little bit of visual intrigue where the foot is breaking through the cape a little bit, just so we see this little bit of loafer sticking out and we know like, oh, okay, that's visually interesting, right? I'm intrigued looking at this shape. You know what I'm intrigued by at the moment, however? Food. I am super hungry right now. Is it past 1, I'm guessing? It is 1:15. That would account for the amount of grumbling that is occurring in my stomach at this moment. So, if this were a normal timed stream, I'm confident in how, I got this out. He's almost done. He's not done. I get this. But the energy is there for getting him done. And had I had more time, I possibly would have been able to then throw in some color, throw in some rough, you know what I mean? Because that's what I want to do, right? We talked about this. I just want to get energy out and out in the world and pump stuff out. My Malice looked cool and she's almost done, but did she take a whole friggin' week and didn't really need to? Yeah, 100%. So let's not do that anymore. So I think if in a normal scenario we were streaming and I had my full, if I had an hour back, I think I could pump out close enough to a finished thing. Like if this Magneto would have been close enough. Done? Maybe not. But this is my hypothetical what if scenario, and to make myself feel better, I'd be like, yeah, totally would have had it done. Thank you. Yes, it's been looking good. And like I was saying, if I had more time, if I didn't screw up, so the whole first half of the stream was borked. The multi-streaming did not work at all. And so it actually shut down the stream. I had errors proc all morning. So I didn't even get started until like an hour into the normal time. But yeah, no, I'm vibing with this Magneto. I'm also vibing with food. So I think we might call it here. And just assume that had I not screwed up with all of the multi-streaming stuff this morning, you would be looking at a nearly finished piece. But instead we're looking at a kind of a good sketch, a good start, a pretty okay Magneto. But now we're looking at the shape. So this was, oh man, I forgot how different the sketch is now. So this is all over the place. Do we need to shrink this whole thing down, I think, just so we can make the overall image breathe. So I need to have his foot in here. But I do not want to sacrifice the big, like, whatever that big, massive metal gold detail is for the ring behind him. So let's shrink him just a wee bit. Not too much. And now I can block in a foot. Right. So I think, what is the shape of, how much foot would be visible? Not quite sure. But maybe I need to shrink him a little more even then to give more visible foot. But I don't know. Big old loafers. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling the foot right now. I think it's because I'm so hungry and I'm pretty, like, it was a long, frustrating morning trying to get all of this situated and seeing the stream crash countless times. was just difficult. I stayed up last night. I was like, I'm going to bed. I was finishing something at 1:30, and I was like, I'll go to bed at 1:35 then. Well, lo and behold, I was like, what if I try and set up the multi-stream stuff now before I go to bed so that when I wake, I'm not as stressed trying to make sure it is going to work. Good idea on paper, right? Great idea on paper. Stayed up. It was like 2:30 then. So it was like an extra hour until I finally went to sleep. And then it still screwed up. So like, did it help a little bit that I did stuff beforehand? Sure, totally did. Did it solve it even? No, it didn't, unfortunately. But again, we're learning, we're growing. I think it's this, at least knock on wood, the stream did not crash this time after the fourth or fifth try here. So it looks like it's going to keep. The settings are okay. But okay, so I mean, that foot is, it looks like a foot then, at least receding. So I want it looking like he's kind of falling back in space a little bit now. Not too much. Because we're pretty extreme with the angle of his pant cuff. So you kind of have to follow the idea that like that foot is actually zooping on back. But again, we will detail this later, or I'll do it probably off stream if I've got time to mess around with this a little bit, seeing as the timeline was borked. But anyway, let's take a peek what we've got. So he looks solid so far. We've got the under sketch here for his arms and stuff. So decent energy enough. Still, like his hip area, this area is still, like this area, still feels off to me. I know I redid it a few times. I'm not sure how to fix it. I wonder if just making it smaller, like before I made it bigger. One last quick peek of if this could help, and then lunchtime. But so if we really scrunch it up more. Hey, good old liquefy. You already know. What does that look like? All right, I think that's a little better. Just tweak this real quick because I want to post at least an image of this, even if it's not done. All right. Well, I keep redoing what the angle I think the belt is at, because each time I readjust his torso, like I said, you kind of reassess the other bits, and the belt being one of them, I feel like. But I think we're on to something with this kind of curvature of the belt now. Oops, I forgot I messed with this, so now the cape looks silly. actually want the cape still to come down more. The way I originally had it. So the corner would be like that, right? Where it was originally. I liked that spatial, like how much space was between the empty space between his thigh and then the cape corner. So again, like I said, when you're redoing things, remember to keep the things you liked and make sure you recreate that part. So I liked the way the cape flowed. So just because I changed the entire lower half of the body, if you can find a way to keep that energy of the piece you did before, make sure you do. Because if you liked it for a reason. Your eye usually tells you. You don't need to know the details of why. Your eye will usually tell you at the bare bones, good or not good, right? And this is an example of that, for me at least. So there is, Magneto's lower half looks super weird now. So let's just, I'm going to erase it maybe, just so I don't, the sketch look is throwing me off now when I look at the sketch. But we can see the arms kind of blocked in still. Because I want to obviously keep those, that's what needs to get done still. So if we just crank up the... Yeah. Okay, I'm going to noodle this too much, and the whole point is not to, and me being hungry is making me noodle. I think that's part of it. Hunger makes me noodle. So, I think that's good. Enough. Hopefully the dual streaming worked, or the multi-stream, whatever. I think it was. It looked like it was on my end. Again, after the 14th try. So, fingers crossed it worked. If not, I'll reassess. Hopefully no errors in the morning, now that we've got this cooking. But, I'm cool with our Magneto. Like I said, I showed you guys the little quick glimpse too of, oops, not that, of where Malice is. I'll finish her up the next couple days, probably off stream. I don't want to do her on stream anymore, but Magneto, hopefully I can clean him up and do maybe tomorrow we'll just do rough colors, right? Rough sketch, rough colors. The whole goal is to want to do both of them in one, the rough sketch and the rough colors in one stream. We'll see if maybe Wednesday we can accomplish that. Either way, I think Magneto here has got some good vibes. I've learned that like I need to make thumbnails of stuff. So it's like, oh, how can I position something real quick so that if I take a screenshot of it, it looks good. So like, look at me. Screenshot written, boom, right there. Beautiful. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to go eat. I hope you guys have a lovely meal yourself if it's lunchtime or dinner time soon. But yeah, until next time, be kind and kick butt.